Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about day 3 of New York v. Trump, which has resulted in the selection of 12 jurors. The 12 who, unless they are disqualified or have to leave for some reason, will be the ones who decide his fate. There will be 6 alternates also chosen. And the way it works is when you get to the end of the trial, if the 12 are still there, the alternates will be dismissed and the 12 will go and deliberate if something has happened between the beginning and the end, and then an alternate can be substituted in. It was an interesting day and a day of contrast. So the morning was pretty tumultuous. Remember, as of yesterday, 7 jurors had been chosen. That number dipped to 5. And for reasons that are somewhat worrisome or at least noteworthy, first, one juror actually called the court the previous night, and she said she had second thoughts about her ability to be fair, but when she came in and was questioned, it was pretty evident that she had been made very uneasy by her identity apparently slipping out. Remember that there's information that was publicly reported. The judge put his foot down about it, but from which you could probably cobble together, at least if you know someone, here's where they worked, and sometimes their physical description was given, and it seems as if in her case and maybe in others, people kind of figured out, oh, that must be Agnes or whoever. And she was clearly uneasy about serving on the jury, and then it kind of brought home the problem we have here in a Trump trial and his kind of resemblance to a mob boss and his propensity for really bringing trouble down on people, including jurors. He had done, this is a separate part of the tumultuous proceedings this morning I will get to. And then another juror, the DA, said they had discovered information suggesting that possibly a juror had lied and who had been seated, and he was to come in and answer questions. And he didn't come in. And then when he did, it turned out that the DA was right, and he too was dismissed, and we were down to 5. Moreover, the DA said that Trump had committed 7 more violations of the gag order, including a retweeting of something from Fox News that basically went after jurors or came pretty close, said that there were libs who were trying to sneak their way on the jury, basically, castigating them potentially, or certainly could have brought them to be really concerned about how MAGA Nation or lone wolves could react if they adopted Trump's line. So that was something that Merchant had to think about. He didn't expand the gag order. Indeed, the motion for the previous violations, it's criminal contempt, and it has to be heard, and he is going to hear it next week. But so 2 jurors down, Trump multiple violations, and it looked like a pretty chaotic time. And would the chaos continue? Merchant told the people in the audience, including press, they were not to report out any details about work and things that could be used to identify jurors, physical descriptions, and the like. And then they proceeded. So that's sort of part 1. Part 2 of the day is another remarkably streamlined, efficient proceeding where, at the end of the day, it culminated in the seating of the 12th juror. Now, Merchant, as he had done the last time, he took this big group of 96 or so and said, who feels they can't serve? And about half raised their hands. Now, normally in trial, people try to get out of trial and they say that, and they're pressed to see if it's really true. Merchant doesn't want to mess around with that. It's time consuming, among other things. He just let them all go and then proceeded on the questioning. And it got pretty interesting. It reached a point where they had started the day with, I think, each side having exhausted 6 of their peremptory challenges. By about the time the 10th person or so was seated, they'd each had used all their peremptory challenges. So that meant that there were challenges for cause, and if the court didn't grant a challenge for cause, that juror was seated. And when the 12th juror was seated, that was the end of it. But as I've been explaining all the way through, it means that for both sides, they have had to accept certain jurors that they're not sure about, that they're worried about, that they will very, very closely monitor the reactions of, and the like, and that they, as experienced trial lawyers, may come to see as their fatal mistake. If one holds out for Trump and prompts a mistrial, or if, somebody that Trump thought might go that way, in fact, goes against him and is part of a unanimous guilty verdict. There was one I wanted to show as a kind of good illustration of what happens here at the end when each side has to swallow hard and take some jurors that they had peremptory challenges to use, or an infinite number, as Trump thought was the case, they would have used. So juror 11. Product manager, lives in Upper Manhattan. She says she does not have strong opinions about Mr. Trump, but added, I don't like his persona, how he presents himself in public. She then added, I don't like some of my coworkers, but I don't try to sabotage their work. In other words, she's saying, I don't like his persona, but I can be fair. And Trump tried to challenge for cause, saying, well, this is someone who can't be fair, and Judge Merchant wasn't having any of it. He said, no, look, she doesn't like your persona. And indeed, there were others who were obviously at best ambivalent. That was the main question that the Trump lawyers tried to ask in their turns, questioning the jurors. Basically, how do you feel about Trump? How do you feel about Trump? And a lot of people basically wouldn't answer and just said, I can be fair on the evidence. So anyway, that's a good example of someone that I'm sure, they have some heartburn, should they have not used the peremptory challenge on that previous one, so they could have had it for this woman anyway. It's too late. She's number 11. And then number 12, a healthcare worker who lives on the Upper East Side, was chosen. These are all New Yorkers, and you have in the New York Times a description of them. But, if you spend time in New York, you would sort of see these are the people who live and work and go out and otherwise, have their lives in Manhattan. So that's the 12. Tomorrow is likely to produce the 6 alternates in short order, which would translate into opening statements on Monday. It's not clear whether any of the jurors observes Passover. If they do, the judge has said that there won't be court on Tuesday, and perhaps even Monday they would break at about 2, because Monday night is when Passover begins. But even so, if the alternates have been chosen by tomorrow, Monday will be opening arguments in U.S. versus Trump, and Tuesday or Thursday. Remember, the court doesn't sit on Wednesday. We'll start in on evidence, and it'll be interesting for starters to see whom the DA calls first. But we're really there. We have a jury, and Merchant seemed to kind of recover control and push through quickly. after a tumultuous morning, we'll see what Trump's next possible ploy to create chaos might be. But for now, in fairly more than fairly shorter time period than many were predicting, a jury is in place. And after alternates are chosen, it'll be time for opening statements. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.